Yep, it's that time of year again, and Paul Sather isn't the only one. Portal season is here, which means keep your X open and hang on tight. Welcome to the Bison Overtime Show. I'm Grant Hubbard alongside Ethan Eibach. Peter Avelka will join us later in the show. And Ethan, basketball season is over, unfortunately, but spring football is here.
Yeah, I said to you after the game against Columbia, it's football season now. It may be March, but we're ready for football.
Yeah, let's start with Bison football, as we always will on this show. The game with Montana State. We've talked about it for a couple months now. Will it happen? Will it not happen? There's a good chance it was going to stay on. We got an email today at it's being finalized, how I can describe it, with Montana State in 2027 in Vegas. Remember, it's an ESPN events game. Each team's getting about $1.25 million to play this game. So it was good. It was going to be played, but now we know it's finally we know that's going to happen, and we're going to play it in 27.
Yeah, it's not as amped up as it once was because this probably was going to be a rematch of the Nashville game from 26.
Right.
Now it's FCS versus FBS. It's in a destination where Bison fans are already going to be going this year. I wouldn't be shocked if there's more Montana State fans with the destination being where it is.
Wait, speaking of destinations, there's a chance that the Bison may not have to send a waiver to be eligible to be in bowl game this year, because the FBS Oversight Committee, again, they oversee all the rule changes and maybe some of the playoff changes, who knows. They're proposing to the NCAA to let teams who go from FCS to FBS to be immediately eligible for postseason. So North Dakota State and Sacramento State is what we're talking about in this scenario. If Sacramento State is eligible year one, I'd be shocked, but it's 2026, so anything can happen apparently in today's age of college sports. So this waiver that the Bison have been talking about, they may not even need to address the envelope because it's already being worked on.
It's long overdue for this rule to be gone, especially with the portal. I mean, how are you supposed to retain players if you have nothing to play for?
Yeah.
You're not playing for a regular season title, and this is it gets me excited for the Mountain West. I mean, people are talking about the CFP. That's every 5-year kind of thing in my mind. I think the Mountain West Championship is what you got to get excited for.
Yeah, so again, if this had been passed sooner, is Jaquise Alexander still here? Is Jalen Duffy still here? Is Toby Anene still here?
Yeah.
I don't know if you could have kept Bo Johnson here, but you could have kept a couple more guys here if this thing had been passed. But that's why you keep signing players, right? So for the 2027 class, they signed 2 players in the last couple of days. Cody Braun, a safety from Minnetonka. They're in Minnesota. And then Jack Noonan, who had a South Dakota State offer, 6'4", 240, from Roseland, Minnesota, to play defensive tackle. We were told that you won't be able to recruit players anymore from the Dakotas or from the Minnesota schools because you're FBS and you're not playing for a championship. Well, I guess that's already been proven incorrect.
Yeah, SDSU fans that's what they've all been saying. UND fans too, but we kind of ignore them. The SDSU fans, you're not competing for a championship anymore. Well, apparently we are, and we're going to keep out recruiting you.
They joined running back from Wisconsin, Austin Whittick. Again, your head coach is Tim Polasek, and you're from the Wisconsin area. They're going to dip heavy into Wisconsin. They've done that so far. And Robbie DeClona, a Florida safety. They're starting to dip back into Florida a little bit, which is great because we saw those players from Georgia and Florida. It used to be a pretty consistent pipeline, not a Florida-Georgia line, so to speak, but just trying to get more of those players from the southeast part of the country, which is really where all the big athletes are, those great fast athletes are.
Yeah, I kind of mentioned it a few months back, actually, is that when you recruit guys from this area, it's not going to matter what division you are for the most part because they know the programs. When you're recruiting in Florida and Georgia, they see FBS and FBS, and it's a huge difference.
Yes.
And it's really not, but they see it that way. So I think you're going to see more of this out-of-state recruiting.
There's a lot of changes going on the field, and that starts with the numbers. Yeah, if you're over the age of 40, you're going to go on the field next year going, why are these players wearing these numbers? We'll just go through them for you quickly. If you want to put them on the screen, guys, you can. There you go. So Preston Brown going from 16 to 0. He plays special teams, so that makes sense why he switches to more of that 0 number. Victor Aselli, you're seeing a lot of these defensive linemen going from 90 numbers to single-digit numbers. He's going to 0. Nathan Hayes from 12 to 2. He wants to create his own legacy and not be Easton Stick, but be his own man. So Gavin Self from 51 to 3. Najee Nelson from 13 to 4. We expect Najee to play a lot more this year than he has in the previous years. Miles Money Mitchell from 25 to 5. Keenan Wilson from 58 to 8. You're not Jared Verse. I don't know if that one's going to make a ton of sense. Tight end Gabe Cunningham will go from 33 to 9. Kelton McCaslin will go from 92 to 9. Matt Stenbrotten is going to be the next Chance Simons, go from 49 to number 11. Mikhail Ford had a punt return touchdown last year. He'll go from 32 to 13. Marion Moore, guy that the coaching staff has a lot of expectations for, from 34 to 16.
Yep.
Our guy John Gores from 80 to 19. That's going to look weird, him being in something that's not 80. And Fargo Shanley's Landon Meyer from 33 to 27. Any of these numbers stick out to you other than Keenan Wilson?
Yeah, I mean, the defensive lineman, it doesn't bother me a ton for the edge rushers because it happens so much in the NFL now.
Right.
The defensive tackle part bothers me a little bit, but in the end, it's not a big deal. Preston Brown, I would keep an eye on changing his number again if he switches to, if he becomes that starting quarterback at some point, because 0 as a starting quarterback would be gross. And one more thing is that, you talked about Nathan Hayes not wanting to follow East and stick with the number. It's kind of amazing that all these numbers, I mean, Cole Payton was 9, Cam was 7. We haven't had a repeat number other than Steve Walker and Carson Wentz in the Division I era. Hopefully he's better than Quincy Patterson, I'll say that.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
Hopefully he can do more than run and throw it deep. We need more than that out of our quarterback. I was talking with Niles Hall from our guy from San Jose State, and I'm like, this guy has a cannon.
Yes.
The guy throws a 94-mile-an-hour fastball, and no one throws a sideline out route better than Nathan Hayes. And unlike Easton Stick, it's on time. So that's what we need really more than anything else. Okay, let's go from football to basketball. Let's start the WBIT with the Bison women. Again, they were one of the first 4 teams out of the NCAA tournament. They were given the number 1 seed in the WBIT. They played Chattanooga last Thursday night, and it was like playing Oral Roberts all over again. Like, because ORU can score. I mean, Kaya Elizalde, she had 33 of the team's 62 points. She was a bucket. Like, she was outstanding. But again, North Dakota State, Avery Coonan had 16. Joshie Schiller had 14, one of her better games this year. And Carrington Asp had 13. The Bison know how to beat teams like Chattanooga. Just outscore them and play enough defense to hang around.
Yeah, and they didn't really shoot that well
No.
either. They Chattanooga committed some turnovers early, and Chattanooga closed the gap late in the game. But it was basically one player for Chattanooga.
Yeah.
And Bison just out-physicaled them. They were way bigger than
The Bison led by 25 in this game.
Yeah.
They led for all but about a minute or so, minute and change in this game. They just did, it's a very just workmanlike effort. They did what they had to do again. They shot the ball about evenly. They didn't shoot the ball great. And let's just move on to Columbia, rip the Band-Aid off. This is the reason why this team, until they learn how to shoot the ball better, is just not going to be what we want it to be. Because look at those shooting numbers. They shot 34% from the field. They barely shot 23% from 3. At the line, they were decent, but points in the paint, what they hang their hat on.
Yeah.
They got killed in that category because, and we saw earlier from Columbia, that press. I mean, we've seen, these teams like Montana State, they want to press the hell out of you. Columbia does a lot smarter than Montana State does.
Yeah, it was just kind of an ugly game the whole way through. I mean, they put up 30 in the first quarter on the Bison. They shot 33% from the line and basically blew them out. But, can you picture if, in a game like this where Avery Coonan didn't get shut down, but she didn't play her best?
Yeah.
If you have Elle Evans on the outside.
Yes.
If she's still here, you probably have a chance to win that game in Sioux Falls, and then you have a chance to win this game. But, yeah, it just was not a great day. Sad to end a great season in that way, but I'll take playoff basketball at home anytime I can get it.
Yeah, Columbia beat South Dakota State this year by double digits. If you beat them by double digits, you were in my respect, and you can see why. Perry Page, Mia Broom, Riley Weiss went for 23, 26, and 21 points respectively. The Bison don't have those scoring guards. No. That's the problem. Again, we've seen it with Jocelyn Schiller not shooting the ball as well as she did at UND. Marissa Frost wants to drive with her left, and if you shot down her left hand, she's not as efficient of a scorer. And Coonan, if you double team her, that takes a lot of the offensive mojo and rhythm that the Bison have away, and you're depending on more of the Molly Lenz and the Amelia Hobson to shoot the threes from the outside and hope to God those go down. They worked against the Jackson Assembly title game, didn't work here against Columbia.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that Schiller got shut down pretty early on because
she tweaked her ankle and didn't return in the second half.
They kind of saw the writing on the wall that even if they win this game, it doesn't look like they're going to go too deep, and you just got to get her healthy for next season because next year's a big year if you can retain this roster because they only graduate, I think, 2 players.
Yeah,
and one of them didn't play much, and the other one, Abby Graham, played. She played some good minutes for the Bison.
Yeah, again, let's go towards the men. And again, they played in March Madison. Again, when you play, again, God bless the Bison. I can have a statue that has Michigan State on it. I mean, this is good stuff. I can even say that. Yeah, they got crushed. But I mean, we saw during the week it was the most likely 14-3. If this was the most likely, then wow. Because Michigan State, I mean, I know we picked UConn to beat them this week, but UConn's a great team. Michigan State's going to be a tough out. Michigan State is impressed. I mean, we heard that Cohen Carr wasn't a great shooter. He was pretty decent against NDSU. Yeah. Jackson Kohler had 12. Cohen Carr had 17 points. Carson Cooper had 20. And when they had the modern-day version of Magic Johnson, with Jeremiah Fears, who's breaking assist records left and right, they had no chance in this game.
And I said it on our show previewing this game. I mean, you needed a guy like Tay Smith to get hot, and they just didn't really. I mean, they shot 24% from the three-point line. You just at this point, I'm kind of under the impression if you win your conference, that's your Super Bowl. And getting to this point, you're probably not going to win a March Madness game because it's just how it is. We'll talk about it in a bit, but Cinderellas, they're basically dead. They just are.
And again, it's just the way it is every year with these teams. It seems men or women shooting doesn't really look that great. They barely again. Michigan State is freakishly athletic, so they can defend a lot of positions at once. It makes scoring for DeMilo or Thomas just that much difficult. But they barely shot 40% from the field. They shot 24% from three. You know, it was a bad day shoot when Emil Scuda made a three-pointer.
Yeah.
That's a rough day at the office for the Bison when that guy is providing offense from outside.
Yeah, and I kind of thought it was gonna take a ridiculous shooting effort, like I said, and they just didn't. And Michigan State shot the heck out of the ball. I mean, they're over 50% from both the three-point line and the field. They dominated in the paint.
Yeah.
It was just not a great day overall.
But they did lead. They led at the first TV timeout. That's for mid-majors. The fact that you can say, "Hey, we led Tom Izzo's Michigan State team after a TV timeout, and you scored the first points of the game." I mean, that first play alone may have got Trace Anderson $100,000 just by making a shot against Michigan State.
Yeah, and speaking of Trace and Anderson, I mean, we'll get to the portal stuff later, but I mean, to get to the mid-major things, it's like these agencies that are getting developed overnight, and then players joining them, and then the players have to give a cut to their agents. It is a mess.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that later.
But there was some beauty involved in this year. So to recap the best plays of the year from the men's basketball team this year, Peter Velka, King of the Court, it's all yours, pal.
Thank you for the warm welcoming. After a week of absence, we are back, and this is the season finale of this basketball season of King in the Court. Now, this is a compilation of pretty much all of the best plays and best moments of this year, kind of in a 2-minute short clip. Roll it. Now, in this first clip, it's going to be the game winner against Oral Roberts. Strickland's going to get it. Ferrison's going to get an old board, and he's going to finish with the game winner in the second overtime. Now, we talked about this early on, but this is probably one of the worst presses ever for the DeMario Wheeler game winner. Now, in the next one, Morse is going to overplay the South Dakota guy, and Strickland's going to get a poster gem on him. Now, watch Strickland's hands get the steal. Carson's going to give it to him, and watch Strickland explode on here. Now, in this one, Anderson's going to get the board. He's going to jump stop and get a two-handed slush on St. Thomas. Now, moving on to the Oral Roberts game out of the way. Watch Ferguson throw the flare screen, and T. Smith's going to be wide open for that three-pointer. Now, moving on to the South Dakota State game. Look at that screen from Feddersen and the bounce pass from Andy with the two-handed poster with authority from Feddersen. Fedderson's going to catch and shoot, going to get his own rebound, and end with a two-hand slam. Now watch Strickland in transition and Andy's pass. It's going to be a straight shot, one-handed flush in the lane. They close the door on South Dakota. Now against South Dakota State, Anderson's going to drive baseline and finish with a two-hand poster slam on Wilkinson. In the next clip, we're going to see Andy go there, but first, Taysmith's going to pump fake and give it to DeMario on that wing that he really loves, that corner shot. Now against UND, look at the slam from Strickland. Oh, I could watch this all day. Now, in the Summer League play, it's going to be a bounce pass to Strickland for the one-handed slam. Now, we're going to talk about this is a little breaking the action, but this is probably one of the best Summer League tournaments I've watched, and one of the most dominant Summer League players I've seen in Strickland, and how this group kind of gelled together at the end of the year. Now moving on, look at Feddersen throw this lob pass all the way up to Strickland. He's going to finish off the glass for two, and the foul. Now it's going to be a seal off from Strickland right there into a bounce pass, and he's going to be a two-hand flush off the hang. Now the most impactful play of this game, not the Feddersen, but one of these, the and one three-pointer on Alleman from that step back. But look at the extra pass from Feddersen right over there, and that kind of sealed the game. Now moving to March Madness, Cooper's going to fall on the deck. Look at the slam from Strickland. Now DeMario's going to reject the screen. He's going to find Tay Smith wide open. And this was the one of many three-pointers they made out of that 24%. Now, it was a great season recapping the men's, and it was an amazing honor being the beat writer and covering a lot of the plays that they did. And I just want to give a quick shout out to a lot of the graduating seniors that were part of this Bison team, because they made Ethan and Grant and I's job so much better covering this game and learning their stories of how they came, and a lot of NBA father royalty. Now, moving over to the desk, we are going to talk about some of the a lot of the transfer portal moves around the Summit League and with the Bison. And it's kind of astonishing to see some of the statistics of all the Bison leaving.
Yeah, I want to start with they both had historic years. Like, let's just start with that. They both set records for wins in Division I era, especially with the Bison men. It was an unexpected great season. Is how I would describe it, because we just don't know in today's era of college basketball if the guys you brought in are good enough to win the Summit League. And it turns out Dave hit some home runs with some of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, getting Tay Smith, his jump shot was butter all year.
Yeah.
And when he finally got it going on the catch and shoot, pump fake, all that step back, it's amazing. It's kind of like watching like a mini Steph Curry on crack. And then you look at Strickland. I mean, I sent Ethan numerous clips throughout the year of him just. The highlight reel just shows that how many slams and all the steals that he provided for NDSU, and the most impactful guy, Travion Carson.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, the dude was playing at Des Moines at a junior college at a JUCO level. Dave Richmond said, "Hey, come and start," and he provided some of the best offense and defense output, and he really let his defense really speak for him. And that's what was remarkable watching him, and such a composed guy, and he can bring the fire. Yeah. I mean, how many guys can toe up with some of the best players in the Summit League and shut them down?
Yeah. And
while also performing the catch and shoot threes, the back to the basket hook shots, the jump stops, the drop steps. Unremarkable recruiting class from Dave.
Yeah.
But once again, NDSU just has to reload, and I really like the recruiting class they brought.
Love the recruiting class. Ethan, what do you got on this?
Yeah, I think it was just a perfect balance of retaining your guys that you had on your team and going out and getting guys. I mean, to have Tay Smith coming off the bench, that's pretty good. To have Emil Skuda coming off the bench, that's pretty darn good as well. And, the guys they retained, like Feddersen, Trayson Anderson, and Andy Stefanowicz, and Damari Wheeler-Thomas, those are the guys that you needed to stay to have the success they did. And like Peter said, they're going to have to do it all over again because everybody left.
Everybody left, yeah.
And I'm more confident with the men because this year I had more answers and questions at the end of the year. And I'm not counting next year. I had more answers now than questions. But I cannot say that about the women's team. I feel like there's a 50-50 balance of questions and answers because, as Grant, you pointed, we still need a true point guard. Schiller's amazing, Frost is amazing, but we kind of just need that true point guard.
No, true point guard has of shooting the basketball and things like that. Because we're not trying to pour water on the season they had. They won 29 games this year. That's the greatest season they've had Division I by a mile, and they were again this close to being in the NCAA tournament. But I just need to throw some things out there that I saw, and I was writing this during the Columbia game, is that they're still gun shy in terms of shooting the basketball consistently. Schiller doesn't either want to shoot it or Jory's telling her not to, which I don't think is the case, but she's not shooting it nearly as much as she did at UND. Maybe that's the way the offense has changed. I'm not sure. But the offense is very Kuhn independent, which points in the paint is their bread and butter. Like I asked Jory a question about it early in the year. It's like, well, you beat them 54-26 in paint points. Like, that's just who we are. Well, like, that's all fine and dandy, but if you can't why is South Dakota State so good? Mathowitz, because she can shoot it from the outside, and they have guards who can make an 18-footer. There's only one guard on this team apparently that can make an 18-foot jumper, and that's Molly Lenz. Outside of that, there's nobody else there. Defensively, they can get back down at the paint by bigger guards. They rebound. The rebounding is an issue at times. Like against Columbia, Columbia's an Ivy League school? They're smart. They get every loose. They don't make mistakes. They dive for loose balls. They take the charge. They're willing to play that trap defense, but they actually play it well. It's not reckless. They know where they're going with that next trap, right? They're gun shy from three at times. Those are the things that, you can't shoot 25% from three in a big game. The only team who can apparently is the Jacks, who made one three-pointer and still won by double digits because Meyer's just that good, right? And
my takeaway on that is Meyer. And the difference between Meyer and Kunin, Kunin can't shoot more than 10 feet away from the basket.
Yeah.
But Meyer can. Meyer can do that face-up and everything. And like we saw in NDSU's offense all year, it's a lot of that inside the paint motion with screen acrosses, all that. But there's so much space that, you just wish every Kunin would just hey, it's okay to take a 15-foot jumper when they're giving all that space, you know? Like, I feel like But the one question that I can definitely answer from this women's team is they're going to be hungry
Yeah.
for next year, and they want. And next week might be in my hot takes, but I could say they might sweep the Jacks. It would be the hunger.
Yeah, I think that, with what SDSU loses, that this team they've got to be top 2 in the favorites. The Jacks will be the favorites just because they have been and they deserve to be, but it's kind of just, for me, it comes back to who's going to put up points from the outside other than Avery Kunin, because Marissa Frost is a little inconsistent.
Yeah.
Schiller just didn't, she had a little bit of a down year, in terms of shooting. She was great with passing and playing defense, but if you have Elle Evans, this solves almost all your issues.
Yeah.
Breaking the press is something, it felt like every time they got pressured, they didn't really have a plan.
Yeah.
And that showed against Columbia big time, but
a lot of those press issues. Unfortunately I cannot make the game, but the press, it felt like there was a lot of one-on-ones in the press,
Yeah.
and it's like there's no help
Yeah.
for either Jossie or it's just kind of like some of the game planning issues. But like Ethan said, I just feel like there's a lot of more not pressing issues, but there's just a lot of things that we can talk about from watching the Columbia game.
Yeah, they need another outside scoring presence, which Elle Evans would have taken care of. And again, they have to be able to beat the Jackrabbits when it matters. You have to go to Sioux Falls and beat them. Until that happens, like I tweeted when the Bison lost to Columbia, I was doing the live tweets during the Columbia game. I said they were a favorite, not the favorite. That's a big difference, because all I'm saying is, yes, South Dakota State, they are the queen of the Summit League until someone knocks them off. I am 100% aware of that. But the Bison are right behind them. They're maybe a step or two behind. They're not miles behind like they were 5-10 years ago. They're this close. And as I said, A and the favorite are two different things. The Bison are a favorite, the Jacks are the favorite. So take that as you will. They're this close. And if they can nail the transfer portal, and again, nobody leaves, fingers crossed, then this team could be right there.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of, when you go back to football for NDSU football, it took SDSU's two all-time SDSU teams to knock off NDSU to a not great NDSU team. It's going to take that. It's going to take an all-time NDSU women's team. And this was that. It's going to take even more to beat the Jacks on the women's side.
Remember, there's no more Brooklyn Meyer. There's no more Mathewitz. They're both gone. And the Bison pick up a Mathewitz because they get her sister to come here next year, or next year after that, I think. But they're close, and I think Jory can recruit as well as anybody. Now the thing is Jory here next year? I think the answer is yes. I don't think Jory wants to leave until he's won the Summit League, and until he's cutting on the nets in Sioux Falls. I don't see him going anywhere. This rebuild project he's been on. He's 7 years in, and he has one step left on the booklet to finish the project. He's this close.
Yeah, I don't think there's much high major looks for him at this point, because I think I think his resume just isn't like you said, all there yet. And I think once you beat those rivals, you'll be able, and you kind of make an NCAA tournament run. Yeah. Then it's like, okay, sweet, I'm ready to move on and do something new.
All right, I hope y'all got 10 minutes, because that's about how long our portal list is for guys from the Summit League who have left. Surprisingly, nobody from St. Thomas has gone in yet. Crazy. But again, their NIL money is pretty good. It's not like High Point good, but it's still pretty good. So there's nobody in yet. But from the Dakota schools in Omaha, there's plenty of action. So Paul Jobay from Omaha, who originally went to Miami for 2 years, he's now back in the portal with 1 year left. He averaged 20 points per game. He had 38 against NDSU. Mostly gave up to a scorer all season long. Jaden Jackson, South Dakota State, went in. I would argue he was their best player last year, outside maybe of Seiler. But Jackson was the one guy in that team where we go, okay, we got to stop him, in my mind anyway. For South Dakota, Isaac Bruns, who didn't play the back half of the year with a foot injury, he'll go in with 1 year of eligibility remaining. He averaged 20 points per game as well. UND, it's a laundry list. Marley Curtis with 3 years remaining. George Natsvishvili, the guy who single-handedly sent St. Thomas home in the semis. Anthony Smith III, a pretty improving scorer that had some good looks down the stretch of the season. And then Gracie Ullman, which was not surprising, 3 years remaining with 17 points per game. I mean, Paul Sather's done a pretty good job with that program. Could you imagine if all those guys stayed? I mean, they'd be in a pretty good spot. Sather's a good coach, but they're getting ravaged. I mean, Grand Forks and Fargo, they're getting hammered by the portal here.
Yeah, UND is just a firm example of what is actually
what is mid-major basketball.
Yeah, and the Summit is just a perfect example of that. I mean, you average 20 points, you're probably going to be either a low starter on a high major team, or because, for example, like Jaden Jackson, I could totally be I could totally see him coming off the bench for a high major team. And like, for example, like Anthony Smith, I could definitely see him going back home to Minnesota to be a gopher. And then like Ullman, I think Ullman will be a hot commodity through the portal.
Yeah.
But a lot of like the NDSU guys, and there's a lot of these kind of like these, not these bench players. They are sort of bench players, but there are some starting roles. It will just be interesting to see where they all go and if their role will be reduced or if their role will either be. It's just like it is so complicated.
Yeah, UND fans are starting to figure out what we've been experiencing the last couple of years with portal stuff. It's ridiculous how much the portal has impacted both these teams. For NDSU, the list is rather long when it comes to their portal entries. Trace Anderson, Emil Skuda, Max Marley, Travian Carson, Noah Feddersen, and DeMar Wheeler-Thomas. The latter two we expected. The other four, you figured Anderson was going to go in, but I don't know why Skuda went in. Marley never played really, so that's not a big deal. And then Travian Carson with 1 year left. We understand. He's from West Des Moines. I could see him going to T.J. Otzelberger, North Carolina, but apparently Otzelberger may be leaving to go to UNC, so who knows where he's going to end up.
I have I compiled a stat. So with all those transfers, that is 70.1 points per game. That is 87.2% of their scoring that they have to rebuild. And another one that kind of hurts is looking at the rebounding. You know, with all those players, 29.2 rebounds. Well, you might say, oh, it's not a lot of rebounds, Yeah. They average about 36 rebounds a game. That means 81% of their rebounding production is taken out now.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just kind of, it sucks because covering those players, you grow those relationships with them. And, you know, we like to use the word baby Bison around here when they come in.
They're going to be that next year. Oh, my goodness.
And now it's like, who are they going to bring in if they bring in anybody? But it's just mid-major basketball. It's the two palm in your face.
Yeah, I think something to note here is like I said it earlier. Like Trace Anderson joined an agency or whatever they called that was formed a week ago. That is not a good sign. Not a good financial.
Is a college junior in sports management just setting one up or what?
It's not a good. And something that Dave Richmond said. He said that some of these guys are getting offered more money than NDSU basketball has in total NIL funds. So you're just not going to be able to keep those guys around. It would have been nice to keep one. I thought either Carson or Anderson might stick. Maybe Stefanowicz is getting that money. Maybe we don't know. It's just
he might be.
Yeah,
he might be the guy they're trying to hang their hat on.
It's mid-major basketball in a nutshell. I mean, you look around the country. I mean, if somebody in March Madness wins a game, those guys are all getting. They're gone. And it's kind of the same thing in football. But basketball, it shows more because there's only 5 guys on the court.
And we kind of touched on that in our production meeting. It's not like football where you know you have their second, third string guys.
Yeah.
Basketball, it's like, oh, you want our starters, but you also want our 6th, 7th, 8th.
They got to rebuild after that.
And it's like sweet, we're rebuilding every year.
Yeah. So the Bison lost 6 players. They have 6 freshmen coming in this latest recruiting class, though. Amir Danforth, 6'1" guard from Rockford, Illinois. Kind of DeMar Wheeler-Thomas replacement. He's about the same size and stature. Scored 42 points in a game this year. Pretty good player. We talk about really good players. Max Iverson, 6'4" guard. Dave, I think, had 2 choices at guard. Either Max Iverson or Carter Evanson from West Fargo Horace. I think he chose Iverson. And we saw last night with Iverson, he had 41 points in the state 4A quarterfinals, including he had an NBA 3 that he made. I mean, that's the kind of guy you want playing in the Summit League. He's a 6'4" guy who can just take over a game. That's kind of the way Iverson can play. He'll play that 2-3 role maybe, depending on where Dave wants him. Oliver Junker, a 6'8" from Highlands Ranch, Colorado. He averaged 15 and 11 in high school basketball. That's pretty good stuff. There's more size. Chance Schonenfield, 6'7" from White, South Dakota, so that's not too far from Brookings. Number 5 player in South Dakota. And then 2 big men, Colin Stack. He doesn't have any 7-footers in the Summit League. The Bison are going to have one from Bennett High School in Illinois, number 5 ranked player in Illinois. And then Vasa Ursig from Serbia, next Nikola Jokic, maybe, 6'10". He committed to Dayton, but he left for personal reasons. I think he was born in 2004, so he's about 20 years old or so. So I'd say that's not bad recruiting class they got there.
Yeah, I really expect Max Iverson to kind of step into that. I would not be shocked if he kind of takes over Riley Massey's spot, or even if he starts this year. But I think we talked about this. I'm more intrigued about the big men.
Yeah.
Who is going to start? I mean, I would not be shocked if Colin Stack comes off the bench, and then the big man from Serbia starts. I believe that he will start, and I think Oliver Junker will get some running.
Ursig, he's born in 04, but again, he has 3 years left of eligibility because he came in 23 to Dayton. He went back to Serbia for his personal reason, then came back. So he's going to be an older player who has 3 years of eligibility left on him. That's pretty good. The problem is, he going to keep him all 3 years? Probably not, but having some size is what this team needs to replace. Because they'll go into the roster for next year. As of right now, their roster is Riley Massey, Andy Stefanowicz, Carson Smith, Riley Saunders, Dom Clay, who they redshirted all last year, Caleb Schoenrock, and then Danforth, Iverson, Junker, Schoenfield, Stack, and Ursig. They need some more bigs. Let's put it that way.
I would not be, and we already have 12 people on the roster. I would be kind of curious to see what they bring in. But one thing I'm going to take away from this team is they are going to have some weird heights on their starting lineup.
Yeah.
It's going to be like Andy, and that's going to be another 6'2", 6'3", 6'4" guard. And then I think Carson Smith will take the jump this year.
Yeah.
And then those forward spots, they are up in the air. It's gonna be weird if you're gonna probably see a 6'8", or could we see a 6'10", 7 footer in the lineup? That'd be so sweet.
Yeah, I think you mentioned taking a step forward. We saw that with Trayson Anderson at the big spots, taking a huge step forward. Now he's going to get a bag wherever he goes. Somebody needs to emerge in that spot. And then, it would have been nice to keep Anderson because the Bison thrived on having basically 3 posts this year. I think we can consider Strickland a post. But someone's going to have to take the charge there.
Are we taking bets on Anderson going to Lincoln?
Yeah, I think
that's $1. He goes. If you're from Lincoln, it's a good shot. You're going to go there.
The NDSU to Nebraska pipeline is strong.
Well, speaking of Nebraska, they're in the Sweet 16. We got 12 of 16 of our Sweet 16 picks, right? I told you about Gonzaga, but no.
We told you about Akron.
It's okay. I'm like, whatever. I don't believe in Gonzaga. They got to show me on Gonzaga. But, I think the major outlier is there's no Cinderella. There's no mid-major in this.
Texas is not a Cinderella.
Texas is not. No.
Iowa is not a
If
Cinderella.
Kevin Durant is one of your major NIL guys, you're not a Cinderella under any circumstances. But we see that. I wouldn't say we see it every 2 to 4 years where you see a team from the first 4 make a run and maybe get to the Sweet 16, get to an Elite 8. I still think the 3 number ones will probably. Iowa State could give Michigan a great test, but it's still the Arizona Invitational as far as I'm concerned. Duke is going to have a heck of a time getting out of the East region with St. John's, that Michigan State team we saw, and then UConn, who's won 2 of the last 3 national championships. Yeah. And Iowa, who you can kind of say is, I don't want to say they're Cinderella either, but they have their coach in Ben McCollum, who just does not lose basketball games, taking down Florida. Because, again, we're trapping up 2 because I still don't think we've gotten an answer on that. Nebraska, Illinois, and then Houston. So, I don't know. This is going to be a pretty interesting Sweet 16 this weekend.
I mean, it's going to be awesome. I mean, there's a lot of high-profile players and all of that. But, man, I am so excited for that Iowa-Nebraska game. I mean, both fan bases, they hate each other.
Yeah, they do.
And it's one of my favorite things is they always play for football. They always play the last week of the year, and it's so awesome because it's always that 11 o'clock spot on CBS, and those fans go at it. And as we've seen on TV, Nebraska travels amazing.
Oh yeah.
And Duke, St. John's, who in their right mind puts St. John's, the Big East champion that beat UConn by 20 as a 5th seed? That is scandalous.
Yeah.
And I mean that Arizona region, I mean Purdue is nasty, and I'm rooting for Purdue because I really love the story between the trios and the seniors. Keep in mind, folks, the seniors that stick together for the 4 years.
Amazing what can happen.
And so it shows you, hey, we're going to develop, and this is how, when you're heavily recruited, you have a really responsible coach, this is what happens. And that Iowa State Michigan game, which I forecasted was going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, I cannot wait for that defensive battle. And if they get forgot his name, if they get the guy back from the ankle injury this week. I believe he's the guard that scores around 16.8 points per game, so it will be a masterclass.
Yeah, Iowa, Nebraska. I mean, that's one of the biggest rivalries in college football. And, Nebraska's historically terrible at basketball.
Yeah.
So now they have something to cheer for in basketball. Iowa's usually decent in basketball. They're not a powerhouse. This is going to be one of the greatest environments of this whole Sweet 16. Can we talk about the coaches in this quadrant with Duke, St. John's, Michigan State, UConn, Dan Hurley, Tom Izzo? I mean, that's pretty good.
Rick Pitino and John Shire, that's pretty good stuff.
Being the Godfather, right?
Yeah. And
What? Hey, who knows? Maybe he'll wear the white suit.
Please don't.
Please wear the white suit. I need to see.
Wear it once a year, then throw it back in the closet, as far as I'm concerned. By the way, with Nebraska and Iowa, two things. They should have a ceremonial punt-off between the two teams. And also, they should be playing for the Heroes Trophy.
that football game is usually about who's going to go 6-6 and who's going to go 7-5. But it's still a prideful game.
So
it's still a fun game.
Winner gets a Heroes Trophy.
Who's gonna go bowl eligible?
Yeah. Some years it is that.
I can't remember the bowl tie is for the Big Ten. I don't remember, but send them wherever, and it'll be a fun game. Let's go hot takes, but first, note, Ethan, that you want to.
Yeah, so we always have kept track of like what we get right and what we got wrong, and just percentage. So now, if you make a prediction, you get it right, we're gonna call it a completion. We're gonna use football terms here, and if you make a prediction really far in advance or something that's not likely to happen at all, it's subjective. We'll decide between us. It's gonna be a touchdown. We'll label it a touchdown. So that's how we'll keep track going forward, and we'll go from first fall show to the last spring show. So once we go to next fall, all this will reset and we'll have a new season. If you guys can understand that, we'll go.
So you should explain them then for the hot takes that we got right and wrong then.
Yeah, we'll do that. So like this one, at least that I got on wrong on February 26th, at least one 14 seed or lower will win a first round March Madness game. I think that would be considered a touchdown. That's a pretty solid prediction.
Yeah.
And by the way, they almost happened. Siena almost knocked off Duke, and I kind of thought like if someone's gonna do it, it probably would be NDSU because I didn't think anybody else had a fighting chance.
No.
Didn't happen. Grant, on March 18th, you said NDSU will cover. They almost did.
I was close. They got within 17 multiple times in the second half. I couldn't close. I was this close on that one.
And I think that would be considered more of a completion because it's the spread.
That's fair.
But if you picked them to win, that would be a touchdown.
Right, which I was not going to do.
Yeah.
I'm not that dumb.
And then, Peter, on March 4th, you had Travion Carson will finish the season averaging the most steals per game in NDSU history. Subjective, if we could call it a completion or a touchdown, probably a completion. But
can we verify if that even happened? I don't know if we even could.
We tried to, and we went through. Ethan and I went through the archives of NDSU, and then we also went to StatMuse.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we cannot.
You're not going to find it on StatMuse. StatMuse doesn't have enough complete data on NDSU.
Yeah, the StatMuse, it only had probably to the 2000s, but anything past that.
What's this thing in green though?
Oh yeah,
I got one right.
Grant, we're gonna call this one a touchdown. You picked High Point to beat Wisconsin
about
in the first round. We'll call it a touchdown.
Guys, first two of the season is the guys think that was what wins the game. So I think that's a perfect. I should have tagged that on.
So to go through what we have through this week. My completion percentage is 41. Grant, you're at 34, and Peter, through 2 weeks of predicting, you're at 40. So I have 21 completions. Grant, you have 17. Peter, you have 4, but you also haven't been doing it as long. And then touchdowns. This is subject to change. I just kind of briefly read through it. There could be less, could be more.
Yeah.
I have 6 touchdowns. Grant has 4. Peter, you got 1, which was NDSU beating UND by 15 or more way back in February, I believe. So we'll move into my hot takes for this week now. We're making some football predictions because I'm feeling football season.
Yeah.
This will be a completion if it's right, just because it's gonna happen. Let's be honest. NDSU will be postseason eligible in 2026. I actually put this down before I read that FBS committee thing, the oversight. Second one here, this will be a completion as well if it's right. Donovan Woolen, Keenan Wilson, and Darius Givens will all be all Mountain West honors in 2026.
Yeah, I wrote this in. It's a conference with no NDSU agenda. What a conference this is already.
Yeah, and if I picked them all to be first team, I think that would be considered a touchdown.
Yeah.
But I'm not getting that risky today.
But again, a conference that's happy to have NDSU. Isn't that great?
It's crazy.
They don't hate on NDSU.
We'll see about in 15 years if they win the conference.
Right, but at least as long as we're doing this show, they're going to be the team that no one really hates yet, which I'm actually taking advantage of.
My third one here, this is a touchdown. I think we can all agree if this gets right. Nathan Hayes will be a 2027 NFL draft pick.
If you picked the round he was in, I would give you bonus points. But right now he's a UDFA.
And this is for right now. This is more of the fact that he hasn't started a single game. He hasn't been on the draft boards or anything. It's very similar to if you would have said this about Cole Payton last year. Because no one.
Correct.
The difference is that we know Hayes can throw. We didn't know if Cole could throw. But that's my third one. This one's kind of a broad one. At least half of the CFP teams from last year will miss the playoffs in 2026. I think we can. This is very subjective. I think we can call it a touchdown if it's right. Off the record, some of the teams I think that are missing. GMU and Tulane aren't going to make it back.
No
I just
chance.
don't see that.
I mean, look,
happening.
you see how much of the rosters they got back? It was
Yeah.
like, what, 15%? It was a really low number that they
Yeah.
didn't get. They only got back. So.
When your coach leaves and when you get to the CFP, you're going to get gutted. That's just how it's going to happen.
And they hired, what, the Holy Cross head coach as
Yeah.
their head coach? Like,
And-
you're asking a lot out
Yeah.
of Bob Chaney, I think.
And I think the team, surprised team, I think Alabama's missing out. I don't like what they have coming back. We'll dive deeper into that later on. But Miami, very streaky at points. I could see him missing, but that's what I got for my fourth one. Fifth one, I got a note. I wrote this down on Sunday night before any of these portal things
Yes,
came
you
out.
did. We saw him do it, so this is
Yeah,
true.
so I think this is already right, but it's a completion. At least 50% of NDSU's roster from men's basketball will be gone next year. I think that's
Well, they've already lost 6 players.
yeah,
so.
and I could see one more going. It's disappointing to see it going, but yeah, tear it apart, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just go with this. I think they'll be eligible. I think we've already on the track to that being correct. We could honestly see more than that. I think on the second one with Woolen, Wilson, and Gibbons. I think you'll see Woolen on that list. Wilson, again, we don't know how good the defensive tackles are in the Mountain West yet, so that could happen, could not. Gibbons is an NFL player. I think Gibbons could be playing in the National Football League. He could easily be on that list. Could we see a running back step up and be an all-conference selection? Could be Miles Mitchell. Could it be somebody else? We'll see. I mean, you're seeing the amount of running backs that Tim is bringing in. I think he knows that if we can get deeper running back and have more guys, there's more chance they're going to be really good, really good seasons and have a chance to be an all-conference member. Offensive linemen will probably have 1 or 2. I could see, man, it's a tough call to see who. I think Griffin Empey would be on that list. Maybe Ryan Babbitts could be on that list. Who knows? Maybe Tucker Tiedemann steps up and becomes an all-freshman member. Who knows? I mean, we're gonna see, I'm interested to see more in the secondary. If anybody, the secondary outside of the safeties can step up and be good. We know the safeties are good. It's the outside corners that we have no idea how good they're going to be. At least half the teams, yeah, you could see that. I mean, CFP's a crapshoot every year.
Yeah.
You know, Ohio State, Georgia. Sorry, Notre Dame doesn't qualify for this list. The Alabamas, maybe they could get in, but Ohio State, Georgia are usually locks. Michigan, if they have a good year, is usually going to get in. So. Other than maybe Ohio State and Georgia, maybe a few others, who knows how it's going to happen.
And we all thought Texas was like the
we thought Texas was a lock, and they lost 4 games. Right.
And keep an eye. I'm not saying they're going to miss because I think they're going to go 10-2 and make it. But Ohio State is very similar to what Texas situation
Yeah,
was.
you can see that.
Not roster-wise, more of their schedule.
Yeah.
Texas, like unanimous number 1. I think everyone believes Ohio State's going to be a top 3 team.
Yeah.
Their schedule is rough. I mean, they could easily go 9-3 and miss. I don't see it happening, but it could happen.
Yeah.
I could definitely see NDSU being post. I think that bill's gonna go through.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just look at it, I know the NCAA is kind of a crapshoot right now, but I think that if they come here, they look at the facilities and everything, they'll be like, yeah, Cross, you look like a Big Ten team.
Yeah.
I think I definitely could see that these three gentlemen definitely will be all Mountain West. I mean, the Mountain West is very top heavy, so it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
It's a lot of skill position guys, not a lot of defense. So.
Yes. I could definitely see Nathan Hayes if he has a really good year, being that 6th, 7th round guy. I think at least half the. So my interesting take is I actually did a little deep dive on this.
Yeah.
I am a firm believer that Texas Tech will not make the. I think that Ohio State will struggle. I think Texas A&M will. Folks, Texas A&M has to face Arizona State, and they have to go to Missouri. Missouri is always hard to play. They have to face Tennessee. They have to go to South Carolina. They have to face Oklahoma and Texas back to back. And I believe that Ohio State, like you said, it's a rough schedule.
Yeah, it is.
You have USC. You have to go to California. Then you get Oregon in the shoe. Then you have Michigan. And then you keep for week 2. You got to go to Texas.
Yeah.
If they're 12-2, they're still getting in. I mean, if they have losses to Oregon and Texas, I think they're still getting in.
And then you got to take out those two mid majors. I'm going to call mid majors, obviously. But I think there's going to be a lot of turmoil. And hot take, I think Georgia misses out. I mean,
really?
Gunnar Stockton, yes, he's coming back and everything, but they lost a lot this year.
He has another year left on them?
Yes, and that schedule is brutal because Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, Alabama, Auburn, Florida, and Ole Miss in Missouri all in a 7-week span.
That is,
which is kind of oofda.
Yeah.
And then, honestly, I could definitely see where, we're all going to be like, oh, Oregon's going to make it, all of this. But I feel that, their wide receiver room, it's not that deep. They're losing a lot of weapons.
Yeah.
to the NFL. It's going to be very interesting to say, but I do like that 50% pick.
Yeah.
And then, dude, I think it's already expected that we are expecting at least if Andy stays, but I think this pick is already completed.
Yeah, and I think one more thing on the Ohio State thing is like they lost 3 guys that are probably gonna be top 10 picks. I mean,
Yeah.
Arvell, Reese, Sonny Styles, they're gonna be top 6 picks. Caleb Downs will sneak in top 15, top 10.
Yeah.
They lose a lot, but it's Ryan Day. I trust him, and I'm actually thinking over the last 30 seconds here. I love this Georgia one because Gunnar Stockton. I compared him to Derek Carr about 2 months ago. Grant, I could see this happening, but again, it's Kirby Smart. But the Texas A&M one, I do not see them making.
Wait, question: do Buckeye fans really trust Ryan Day?
They should.
Do
He
they
won a national
really? I mean,
championship.
he won a title. Other than that, what has he done?
Other than that, he won a national
I understand that,
championship.
but it's the losses to Michigan. It's losing to
I
Miami, a game he shouldn't have lost. Like, there's a lot of questionable games for him that he should not have lost.
I think if you question Ryan Day and what he's done, I don't think that you would be a Ohio State fan because if put any
I agree with you. I love Ryan Day. Well, we're not Ohio State supporters.
Yeah.
Ohio State supporters would want him thrown off the 0-10 if he loses to Michigan one more time.
But it's like, for example, it's like any fan that just not, like, oh, Ryan Day stinks. The amount of coordinators that he's had to deal with and switch and go back, and the way he's still recruiting all throughout the portal, those Ohio State fans, they can argue with the wall, being like, oh, he should be fired, all this. It's like, guys, you lost to Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Fair. Yeah, then you went to the college football playoffs and you smoked everybody by 20. It's like argue with the wall. It's you're not like Oregon where they're desperate. They're desperate for any success. But it's just like it'd be questionable. But no, I looked at that Georgia schedule and SEC play and the Texas A&M. It's like it's rough day in and day out. There's no bye week. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for example, like comparing NDSU's Mountain West schedule to like I would say it is a shot in the dark. It is a rough comparison, but like, let's be honest, guys. There's a couple bye weeks in the schedule where it's like, but like when you get an SEC play,
there is no bye week in the SEC, and it's like the same people at Ohio State that don't like Ryan Day are the same type of people at NDSU that didn't like Matt Entz. Like, every coach has their flaws. Mm-hmm. You're not going to win the national championship every year. I mean, that year that they won the national championship, Ohio State, they lost to Oregon because Will Howard didn't slide quick enough.
Yep.
They lost to Michigan because they didn't take him seriously.
Yep.
And then they beat Tennessee at home.
Right.
I got to think about who they won the next game. That they beat Notre Dame by
they beat Oregon. They whipped Oregon.
They killed Oregon in the Rose Bowl in the quarterfinals. I just don't see it. I think Ryan Day's. I think he's a top 3, maybe 2
I agree.
head coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like yes, he's losing so many key defensive players, but the weapons on offense. And I love a good defense, but Jeremiah Smith.
He's the best receiver prospect in 20 years.
Oh, I was on my radio show on Candy. Yes, we were talking about Jeremiah Smith. 6'4", 245 that runs a dang near sub 440.
Yeah.
It's like
that's not bad.
It's like I'm sorry, that's a tight end size in today's game.
Yeah. No, but I was thinking this, like, Ohio State fans are South Dakota State fans on steroids because they want to beat the Bison, they want to beat the Bison. Ohio State, we got to beat Michigan, we got to beat Michigan. Like, their whole season depending on if they beat Michigan.
Yeah.
It's not that they beat Notre Dame in the CFP National Championship game. It's that, but we lost to Michigan. Like, we never thought we lost to the Jacks and then won the national title. We never thought about twice
2017,
about losing.
2021.
We never thought twice about losing to the Jacks. Okay, lost to the Jacks. Who cares?
SDSU, you got to win the marker and the natty.
So like if I had to pick a school outside of NDSU to root for, I root for Ohio State. Like, I like Ohio State. Like, but I'm not to the point where I want to throw Ryan Day off the 0-10 tangent. Like, I'm not doing that. But Ohio State fans are just so like, oh, Ryan Day, if you lose to Michigan one more time, my head's gonna explode. It's just kind of how they are. So like, but like I was thinking as Ohio State, if I was an Ohio State fan, some think, well, oh yeah, he won a national title. What else has he done? He hardly beats Michigan. That's just kind of how they think. It's just how they are. So
and speaking, we're gonna get to our college football preview down the road here, but like,
or how we can fix college football too. We got that show coming.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one too. But Michigan made the right hire. I think they're gonna be.
Oh yeah, no
they're gonna
doubt.
be back in this thing. I think they're a 10-2 team, and the Big Ten is not as much of a gauntlet as the SEC. the top heavy teams are better than the SEC, I will say. But
Yeah.
I think Michigan's gonna be back in the race. I think they are.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll make our CFP predictions, but I think they're back in it this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I have my top 12 right now, but I'm kind of super excited
Yeah.
to finally do it. And Grant, I will say, Notre Dame is a college football player.
They'll be back.
And they have a ton
They're a
of
lock
history.
because of the rule they got.
Notre Dame is a top 5 team entering this year. I'm saying it.
But my other thing is, if you look at all the past college football playoffs, even including the top 4, they have made a way, and I am.
If they beat Miami, then yeah, I'm all in on Notre Dame. But it's just like okay, only we need to have a rule made up, especially just for you, in order that doesn't seem fair to the other schools.
That's an NCAA issue.
Right, but again, it's the NCAA, and you if you sue the NCAA, you win. So it's just kind of how it is.
And it was kind of a BCS qualifier too when they had it too. So I mean, it'll be very interesting to see what happens. Yeah. And I'm super pumped for FBS, college football playoff talk, and excited to I'm very excited to be making picks on Saturdays.
Yeah. So follow us on X for more content from us, especially with NDSU spring football around the corner. First open media practice on Friday. We have plans to be there, so we'll maybe have some content from there. Follower count 547. We always need more followers. We appreciate that. So now that the basketball season is over, more spring football content. We'll have some reports on the open practices if we can get those in. We'll do some more top 10s. We love doing our top 10s. We'll do more of those. We'll do an episode how we can fix college football. Stay tuned for that show. And our season finale, our hopes is to have Coach Polasek on, do a full team preview for 2026. Fingers crossed. We'll see if we can get that one to go through. But that'll do it for us. For Jack Higgins and Cash Rolling in the back, and for my guys on the set, Peter Avelka and Ethan Ibach, this is Grant Hubbard. We will leave you tonight with how the average American ends every college basketball season with one shining moment. So to recap a historic year of D1 basketball in Fargo, here's NDSU's one shining moment. Horns up and go Bison. Enjoy.
Ball is tipped, and there you are. You're running for your life. You're a shooting star. And all the years, no one knows just how hard you worked. But now it shows. In one shining moment, it's all on the line. In one shining moment, they're frozen in time. But time is short and the road is long. In the blinking of an eye, that moment's gone. And when it's done, win or lose, you always did your best. 'Cause inside you knew that in one shining moment you reached deep inside. One shining moment you knew you were alive. Feel the beat of your heart, feel the wind in your face. It's more than a contest, it's more than a race. You always did your best, 'cause inside you knew. In one shining moment you reached for the sky. In one shining moment you knew, yeah. In one shining moment you're willing to try. In one shining